Welcome to the Best Music Podcast with Dan Spencer, where we talk about music and the methods for making music with top performers in the music industry. And this week's featured guest is Wordsmith. Now, Wordsmith is a Baltimore-based songwriter, performer, entrepreneur, and philanthropist. In 2009, he opened his independent label, New Revolution Entertainment. Since its inception, distribution and licensing deals with INgrooves, United Masters, Redeye, and APM Music helped the company flourish and continue to flourish. Wordsmith has released 6 albums over his career, became a Grammy Voting Member, and earned a win in the Best Rap Hip Hop Album for Perspective Jukebox at the 16th Independent Music Awards. Now, Wordsmith continues to use this platform to strengthen partnerships with major brands like, wait for it, people, Netflix, ESPN, NFL Network, WWE, to name a few. In 2019 alone, songs made it to Russian Doll on Netflix, Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt Netflix, Preacher, AMC, Skam France on UK TV, and 2 songs in NBA 2K21 Next Gen. So continuing to expand the company, Wordsmith has officially opened his nonprofit, which we're absolutely going to talk about, Rise with a Purpose, Inc., and delivered his first TED Talk. Check it out, people. We're going to put links to that via Johns Hopkins University in 2021. Wordsmith has also partnered with the U.S. Department of State to fund performances and workshops in countries around the world and strengthen multicultural ties. And during the pandemic, Wordsmith performed virtual tours in Panama, Tunisia, Tanzania, and Ukraine. And we've got some more virtual tours coming up, which we're also going to talk about. You can pre-save and pre-add Wordsmith's new album called Bittersweet wherever you get your music. It drops September 17th, 2021. And you can find Wordsmith on most platforms at Wordsmith, that's WORDSMITH, and on Instagram, Wordsmith Music. Wordsmith, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Oh, man, you killed that. You sure we want to talk, man? You killed that, man. Nah, thank you so much,
Well,
man.
that's it. That you can go home now. Like we've sat here,
man.
we told the people what you've done. That's it.
Yeah, you
He's done
plugged
for the
everything.
day.
Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm out. Hopefully, good luck piecing this together. But nah, thank you so much for the opening intro. Thank you for being so kind and having me on to talk about my craft and my upcoming project.
Wordsmith, I think the fact that you even talk about what you do as your craft is such a testimony to the clear mindset you bring to everything you're doing. I mean, I started watching, and please forgive me, I'm probably going to forget the names, but I was watching this music video you had. The chorus was "I'm Black and I'm Proud." I forget the name of the song
Prideful.
itself,
Yep.
but the first 5 seconds of that music video, I was like, okay, I see what we're dealing with here. This man is an artist, and he is not playing around. It's like the feeling, the art, the vision, it all comes together, and it's really just, I'm so stoked to have you here for a little while to talk with you, because I think your artistic vision and your sense of creativity and purpose is so spot on, and you can call me a fan for sure. So to get us started, what's a piece of music or a song you heard in the past couple days that really stood out to you?
Oh man, that's a tough question. I haven't normally when I'm putting music out or I'm working on music, I don't listen to a lot of other people's music, to be honest. So there's nothing recent, honestly, that I've listened to that's really caught me. But I'm personally always working on different types of music and everything besides the Bittersweet project that's coming out. I recently did a vocal jazz album as well called Progressions with a buddy of mine named Corey Caudill from Nashville. So we're always continuously working on music on that particular project. And what I love about it is we create music kind of in real time. So when we're doing a concert, we have a concert coming up in September in Cincinnati. We're kind of writing music in between our concert dates and debuting it at our concerts and writing what's going on in the world right now and delivering it to the audiences live first. And then sometimes we're recording it after we do it live. So I know it doesn't quite answer your question, but the type of artist I am, and maybe a lot of artists are weird, just keeping it honest. Um, I find when I listen, this is me personally, listen to a lot of different artists, you tend to pick up some of their tendencies or musical maybe cues or tones that they use. But if you're able to, when you're in your immediate creative process, just kind of be focused on you and be about yourself, that's how the music comes out very pure and it sounds like you. And no one can go, oh, well, that sounds like, even if they start to try to do it and go, well, that's, nah, I can't really think of nothing that sounds like. So that's why I appreciate you said, on the creative side of things, artistic side of things is, it's crazy. I have people that actually say to me, once they hear my stuff for the first time, they go, oh, you're a real artist, kind of like you just said. And
Hmm.
I would brush it off for the longest, but then I think about, I guess, the generation now and how music is viewed. People can kind of go, okay, well, you have artists that were born on YouTube, you have artists that were born on TikTok, artists that maybe were born on Instagram, and then maybe you got older cats like myself. I'm 41, who I grew up through the cassette tape era, the CD era, and you know what I mean? I have been putting out projects for a minute. So I'm always reintroducing myself to new generations and trying to keep myself relevant, but staying myself, at the same time.
I think there's so much to unpack there, but I think I'm going to move on from that and actually ask you a question because you stay true to yourself. And there's this really consistent feeling in your lyrics and in the presentation of your music where you're keeping it quote unquote clean, but you're maintaining the energy and you're maintaining the aggression is not the right word, but the focus and the driving focus, that the feeling that a lot of hip hop can give when the flow's really good, and it's
Sure.
that it's like I think when any music's good, you get that feel. Like if you get a jazz band that's really hot and
Yeah,
they're right
yeah.
there, it's like yes. You get a funk band, it's right there, it's like yes. And so I think you're keeping that feeling, and it's so incredible to watch and to really listen to your lyrics because it's not all like you're not falling into the trap of the hip hop tropes of like, well, this is my money, this is my car, all this sort of thing. You're talking about these sort of larger, deeper human experiences. I'm not saying that, talking about cars and money, it is a relevant human experience, and I'm not saying anything bad about that art, but just looking at how you craft your songs, it's incredible. So can you talk a little bit about your approach and your philosophy for writing lyrics, and how you maintain that edge while keeping it clean?
Well, one, I try to write what call conscious commercial music. And what I like to decide conscious commercial is, one, music that'll make you think when you're in the mood to think, but also commercial music that it's catchy still and it's got a real dope beat to it, and you can rock to it without really getting super in depth and involved in the lyrics. I try to make music that if you that type that's up at 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, going to work, you can still rock to my music. Where, and this is not knocking nobody, when your music's kind of one dimensional, it's only going to get played in certain atmospheres. So, example, if you make the type of music that's about the club or cars and women and money, it could be a dope record, but it's not something I'm going to play, or maybe most people are going to play when you're tired at 6, 7 in the morning. You know what I mean? It's something you're going to play later on when you're like, yeah, I'm off work, or yeah, it's the weekend. Let me bump this. And
Hmm.
so I try to walk that thin line. And then the other thing I do is I talk about what I know, which is real life. And I try to be relatable to the average person. A lot of hip hop music is glorified, and it's a lot of the black community showing, hey, we've made it. And that's a beautiful thing to see. But I also like when the black community, and I put myself in that bucket where we're still talking about these are things we still need to move forward with society and still accomplish, as far as a community and in America in general. And there's so many creative ways as an artist that you can put that into a song to where you have a focus, like you were saying, but you can still hear that song and be like, yo, I can rock to this right here. To where maybe
Mm.
by the third, fourth listen, Heck, by second listen, you're going, I'm rocking to this, but I also hear what he's talking about. He's really going in and talking about what's going on today and what we need to focus on, what we need to get behind, how we need to unite. And so there's a way to create music like that. And I know some of the best music through the years when I was growing up was music that it was pleasing to the ears, but also it was pleasing to the mind, if that makes sense, where I love the music, but man, I'm gaining some knowledge from what this artist is singing about or rapping about. And so that's what keeps me, I think, relevant even today. I'm not a huge, big time artist. I never became a big, huge time artist, but I have a great fan base. I get to tour, I get to travel. I still put out music to this day. And if you ever heard my music or you become a new fan, one thing you always know about me is I write concept projects. So even this project, Bittersweet, that's coming up, it's a concept album. And the first single was called Bitter, and the second single is going to be called Sweet. And it really will lead you into the concept of the album, where with this project, it literally mimics life. In 24 hours, you have bitter parts of life and sweet parts of life, and it changes like that. Like something bad could happen, and 5 minutes later, you could be like, oh, okay, no, that's cool. And so I wanted to make music that follows that emotion. So every record, you get a bitter record, which is kind of gritty and dark, and then it follows with kind of an uplifting record or a fun record or a record about overcoming something. And then there's just another, maybe I would say a darker emotional record or a record that touches on your fears or thing you need to overcome. And then again, the next record is you coming out of maybe that fear and seeing that, okay, there's hope, you know? So playing on that emotions, but doing it musically to where hopefully people will go, I want to actually listen to a full album and just press play and let this run because it's covering all the feelings I'm going through in a day anyway. So let me just let it play.
So you found success in the music industry, and anyone who's interested, and I highly recommend everyone does, if you're on YouTube, in the description below, and if you're listening, it's in the audio notes. We're going to put a link to your TED Talk that you did, where you really talk about how it's essentially your psychological positioning around success and what success means. And I think that's really, really interesting to talk about because that's something we bring up on the podcast all the time. It's like, okay, well, is success the fame? So is the success that, 30,000, 40,000 people know who you are and follow you on, wherever, and, you've got a couple 100 million people who don't know who you are, but there's, there's a strong contingent of people who do know who you are. Like, is that the success? Or is the success, I'm financially viable just making music? Or is the success that I released my one record and now that's it for my life? And I think everyone finds their own bit of success, but could you maybe talk a little bit and maybe just for 30 seconds, you don't need to do your whole TED Talk because we have your TED Talk, but maybe just give a quick summary of how you look at success for yourself within the music industry.
Simple. I think just when you can survive off your passion, in life, I think that's important. The thing, we've all had to take different jobs that maybe are not something that we truly want to do, but have to do it to make ends meet. But I think once the moment you are doing that particular job or that particular craft that you love, it's what you always wanted to do, and it's supporting you, paying your rent, buying food. If you have a family, it's taking care of your kids, your wife, your girlfriend, whatever that may be, then simply you've made it and come to that level of success, and that's just kind of how I define it and try to tell artists to definitely shoot for the dreams. You should shoot for the highest level, you know what I mean? But it's not always in the cards for everybody. So your backup plan is, how do I come self-sufficient as an independent artist and as an artist that kind of, I won't say sits in the middle, but is not considered a major artist that's going to have 30, 40,000 fans, but it's going to have diehard fans that, when you release, they're going to love you, and stick with you through the years and really know your music.
So let's talk a little bit about virtual tours. I'm really curious to hear how you did this. We talked a little bit that during the lockdowns, you were doing some virtual tours for, I think it was Tanzania and Ukraine, and there was one other country that starts with a T, which I'm not going to remember right now. Tunisia. And could you talk a little bit about what is involved for a virtual tour?
Sure. So normally I tour anywhere from 4 to 6 months out of a year. And of course, with COVID hit, all that slowed down. And I probably didn't do shows for maybe 4 months, but I had a good idea how I could do it. I kind of sat back when a lot of artists were starting to do virtual programs, maybe in their living room, in their kitchen, and, just finding ways to put it out there. And I said to myself, well, I want to be more creative than that. I appreciate that artists are still trying to find a way, but I said, you know, I had a rehearsal space that I used that was equipped for live events. I mean, a stage, lights, 6 cameras set up, great audio, and I would go rehearse there literally before I would go on my tours. And so I approached them and said, hey, if I can get funding to still do these tours, then could you host me in your studio to where I would do a couple concerts, a couple workshops there? And we worked out a deal, and I'm talking about early in the pandemic still. 3-man crew in the studio, myself, a drummer, a DJ, keyboardist, a dancer at times, and that's it. And they all would have masks on, and I would have a mask on. Only time I would take it off is when I was actually about to perform and had the mic up, to my mouth, use my own microphone as well. And this format, it took off. I did it for Tunisia first. And the way I kind of set the program up was opened it up with a hip hop history workshop, which are really fun because I make them interactive. They're not just, I sit there and lecture. I talk about, what a breakbeat is, who DJ Kool Herc is. When hip hop started in 1973, we recreate a breakbeat live on stage and add all the additions of a breakbeat, showing the DJ actually, this is how a loop actually started. This is how a poet, because they weren't a rapper back in the day, this is how a poet started spitting over that. This is a breakbeat dance. This is how you add percussion. And we build it for them. And then we go through the eras of hip hop all the way from the 80s up into now. And not only do I talk about important things in the eras, I perform and put those important songs from the eras as well. And then we have a teaching portion and then a small show at the end of that. So you're getting this workshop with, I would say, basically TV level quality, TV level audio, this dope light show, beautiful stage, dope setup. And once I did that one workshop, and the next day I did 3 days of classes at home, kind of over Zoom like this. And then every time we did a concert, we would go back to the studio. So they would get this mix of at home teaching and then these education plus entertainment environments of being in this live studio. And it took off from that. After I did that first one, I started getting offers from several different countries and promoters, and ended up doing a 2-week program with Panama, which was just really, really cool to have so many kids that I got to know over a 2-week period that were consistently in my classes, consistently at events, at different workshops. And again, this was all done virtual between a studio and at home. And just showing that it's possible, you know what I mean? And if we're artists, we're meant to be creative, and not just be creative as an entertainer. Don't forget the word entertainer. We're here to put on the best show possible. And me, I just said to myself, I want to do the things at the highest level possible. And so once I did that, I've been rocking ever since, man. And it's been nonstop, pretty much doing performances. And I've been doing virtual mini tours anywhere from 3 days up to 2 weeks. So I have Russia and Germany coming up next.
So for those virtual tours, you're going to be doing the same sort of hybrid experience of this sort of learning, education, performance over a couple of days?
Yeah, the Germany one is the most current one I'm working on right now. That's probably going to be a 7-day program. It'll be a mixture when I talk about
Wow.
concerts, because I actually just recently did one for Portugal. I don't even know why I'm skipping over that. And the one for Portugal was cool because when we did our very last day, it was just a 3-day tour. The third day, when I did my concert and broadcasted it out of the studio, they broadcasted it out of this city called Porto in Portugal, and it was in their square in the middle of the city, and they just had a big screen set up.
No way.
Yeah,
Oh, that's so
yeah.
cool.
But normally, if I was there, I've done concerts in front of 3,000-4,000 people. And I remember when I was in Minsk, Belarus, and their square in Minsk, where everybody congregates, probably 3,000 people just straight back, and just did a concert, you know what I mean, there. And so it was just virtual style. Just they saw me on the screen. I wasn't actually there, but I just thought, see, there's ways to still keep those cultural ties intact, but still put on big concerts from all over the world. I mean, I'm in broadcasting out of Delaware. I live in Baltimore City, but the studio's in Delaware, and it's being broadcast all the way to a city called Porto, all the way in Portugal. You know what I mean? To thousands of people. So just think about that. That's the beauty of kind of what's come out of this unfortunate situation. You have to be more creative.
I think it's such a testimony to your entrepreneurial spirit that you weren't just doing like a little Skype thing. It's like you go in all the way, you get the studio, you
There you
get
go.
the whatever technology you're using, the satellite links, and you go big and you go for, like you said, the best possible that you're able to go for, man. That is huge.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, in addition to being a entrepreneur, in addition to being an artist, you also are a philanthropist, and you have a nonprofit called Rise with a Purpose. Could you talk a little bit about what you guys do?
Yeah, this is my baby right here because I'm all about community, giving back, helping others, and I'm able to do that through, my entertainment company. But with my nonprofit, I have some central focuses. One, we have no music education in the public schools out here in Baltimore City, and it's like that in several, I would say, major
Like none at
cities.
all, like
None at
nothing.
all. Nothing. Nothing. We don't even have a boys and girls
Wow.
club, for kids to go to out here. And
Oh my goodness.
yeah, we're a very poverty-stricken city. 60% of our residents out here are black, and most live under the poverty line. So I would say it's Baltimore, Detroit, Chicago. We're all kind of similar with the violence, drugs, and struggle. And yeah, there's no music education. So part of my reason for opening up Rise with a Purpose because all this traveling I've done and all these shows and workshops and classes I've done in countries, in villages in the middle of nowhere with really, really underserved people. I have that issue right here in my hometown in Baltimore City. So I opened up my nonprofit and honestly got straight to work. I opened it up in June of 2020. Pandemic was still heavy. And off the back, I partnered with a company called doTERRA Wellness, who does essential oils. And I did a match campaign with them. And for 6 months, we raised money. We raised $15,000 in total. And doTERRA matched it. So we went over a little. And we actually got a total of $30,500 in our very first fundraiser. Yep, thank you. And we followed that up with a accounting company out here called Ellen and Tucker. They did a personal fundraiser for my nonprofit through the month of July, and they raised another $1,030. And so right now I'm
Wow.
in talks with architectural companies out here. I'm in talks with actually a company that's doing work on a center out here that's literally a 2-minute walk from where I live. It couldn't be more blessed and more, I would say, giving me the sign that this is probably where the music school needs to be. But I'm setting up meetings with the right people in my city to bring a permanent music school to my city. And I'm not going to lie, mainly for my underserved youth, the communities where the kids I see on the corner every day, a lot of them don't have maybe parents or they're single parent homes. And, the outside world looks at a lot of these kids and say they just on the street selling drugs every day. Some, yeah, they are. The other half are out there because they need the money to eat. They need the money to buy some clothes. They don't have any other outlets. So I want to be able to take some of these kids, you know what I mean? Give them a flyer and be like, hey, walk right down the street 2 blocks to this building right here. Learn drums, learn keys, learn how to become a recording engineer, learn songwriting, learn dance choreography. You never know what gift you might have. And we talking about these are lost kids who don't know they might have a musical gift to play guitar. But if you can grab one and go, hey, next time you at a computer, sign up, go to this website, take this flyer, sign up for drums. This is when the classes are X and X and X. You never know what kid you might end up rescuing or unlocking a gift where he'll be like, I would have never known I was a dope drummer until I seen you that day and you gave me that flyer and I signed up for this class. So it's a really big picture here that I'm trying to build a school out here that even when I'm long and gone, that the legacy will continue and kids out here will no longer have to go through, I would say, with untapped gifts because unfortunately going to public school, which, we need to have, they're not going to go to school in my city out here and get any musical education unless I get this school rolling.
Wow. Off of that, first of all, incredible, incredible work. Off of that, a couple things, and maybe we should save 5 minutes at the end because I actually have some things I want to talk to you about that may help benefit this
Okay.
effort here. But something that I think everyone should know about is Berklee College of Music has this incredible program called City Sounds, Berklee City Sounds. And it's a completely free program that you can bring into a music school environment where the kids can work and learn popular songs for free. So they take care of all the licensing and everything. I'll hook you up with
Sweet.
after we're done talking. And I definitely would love to. I've got some method books for music out. Their number one new release on Amazon right now. I would love,
Nice.
love, love to donate some books to your school if you want them.
Sweet.
But
Yes, definitely.
we will hook that up. Okay. So, is there anything else that we should talk about in terms of Rise with a Purpose? Where can people go to support Rise with a Purpose? They hear the idea, they think it's cool. How can people find you and support you in this?
You can go to the website. It's risewiththepurpose.com. And I think the great thing you'll like about going to the nonprofit site is the transparency. We have links right on the front page where you can read our proposals. You can look at our budgets for programs that we're working on. You can have a say on, hey, I think this should be added, or hey, I think this could be, added to this particular proposal, or hey, I would like to take part and volunteer my services for this and that. We don't want empty donations. We want people going, let me look at the programs you guys want to do. And then when I donate, I feel good about my donation because I'm actually picking the program that I'm donating to. I'm not just going, hey, let me drop $10 in here, $100 in here. To me, transparency is key. You can look at all of our nonprofit documents from our 501c3, our articles of incorporation. All that stuff is open for public to see right there on our website when you go on there. We also offer several ways to donate on there. There's, I think, about 5 different ways when you go to the site to donate. So we make it very convenient in this day and age to do that. But also, we keep it updated with our news and what's going on. We have a great newsletter that goes out monthly. And I just ask you, your support is always welcome and it's always great. And, we're a music and arts-based organization. So, it's proven that music does a lot for the intelligence. It does a lot for creating collaboration and bringing people together. So if you have a passion for that, please just go to the website, risewiththepurpose.com, read about our programs and donate.
And for listeners, there are links in the audio, in the show notes if you're on audio, and in the YouTube description if you're watching this on YouTube. You can check it out right now. Maybe if you're driving, do that after you arrive at your destination. But far be it from me to tell you how to live your life, dear listeners. So you can catch Wordsmith's new album, Bittersweet. It drops on September 17th. You can pre-save and pre-add it right now wherever you get your music. You can find Wordsmith on most platforms at Wordsmith and also on Instagram at Wordsmith Music. We thank Wordsmith so much for taking the time out of his incredibly busy schedule to come talk with us and hope to have him back on soon.